Hey, what's up? Welcome to Apollo's Temple. And it's time to get there. Today we're doing a video on white history. Everybody asks, why is there no white history month like there is a black history month? And I'm going to tell you why. White people are ashamed of their history. Okay, let's start. History of the white man. So, according to National Geographic, modern European DNA is only, white man DNA is only 4,000 years old. Okay? So it's 2019, which means 2,000 years ago, it would have been 2,000 years old. But their first civilization wasn't until 600 BC. And all the time before that, they were what you would call the barbarians. The Greeks titled the barbarians, which is evil and wicked and lack of spiritual self. So let's get into this. At this time, we do know that the Greeks actually went and learned from what you would call the Etruscans. The Etruscans were a partnership or an extension of the schools in Egypt. Okay, so we also have there's European writer Volney who admitted that Volney between 1757 and 1820 he admitted that the white civilization learned everything they know from black people. Let's continue. Okay, so they learned everything from black people and created their own civilization, or had a civilization created for them called Greece, and then they basically, overran Egypt, pretending that they wanted to learn, and then they just brought an army in there. After this, Alexander the Great actually built a wall called the Walls of Gates of Alexander and trapped all the barbarians into the Caucasus regions, the Caucasus Mountains, because they did not fit into civilization. As you see, innocent police brutality, nuclear bombs, all of these wars and dumb things that are going on. These are the reason why Alexander locked the white man into the Caucasus Mountains, because his lack of spiritual understanding destroyed the world. Okay, I'm gonna give you, okay, in the same way that the Egyptians and the Etruscans actually had to civilize these barbarians to create the Greeks actually did the same thing to these barbarians, which created the Roman Empire. Okay, and I'm gonna give you a list of the barbarian tribes. They were the Huns, which is the Asians. You got the Germans. You have the British. You have Russia, and you have Scotland. Those are just a few. The big barbarian tribes, all right, of the white man. Okay. Um, Around this time, you have also after Rome was a barbarian tribe that was civilized. Okay, one of the first ones. They went to Africa, Egypt, and they actually started killing off all the Coptic Christians because Rome needed a religion to control their people. Their people were barbaric. So in order to prevent their people from uprising and destroying the Roman culture and destroying the world like they have done today, they went and stole the religion of Christianity from the Coptic Christians in Egypt, and they changed the whole story from Jesus teaching you how to become a Christ to that Jesus is God. Okay? All right. And all of this, what I just told you, Paul wrote a letter to the Romans in the Bible, and that's what that was about. That was about the barbarian lifestyles of the Roman people that needed to change. The same people who supposedly persecuted Jesus. Then, um, after this, Rome went and forced Christianity upon the rest of the barbarians. Um, because if they didn't, then like I said, it was going to be overrun. Now, after a few wars, the barbarians actually agreed to become a part of the Roman culture with this Catholicism, Christianity, because they had a new enemy on the rise, which was Islam, Africans and Arabs. Okay. All right. So now from 700 to 1500 AD is when you have the barbarian enslavement. This is why white people don't teach white history, because white people were the first slaves. Okay? White people were enslaved by Africans and Arabs. Okay? Um and then you have the Crusades. This is the reason the Crusades happened. If anybody don't know what the Crusades are a bunch of white Christians who ran around the world literally raping, murdering, and beating and enslaving anybody who was not white and anybody who would not agree to a white Jesus being God. Okay. Yeah, we in here. So this was why the wars between Islam and Christianity started, and this is why you see all the European nations are in the Middle East starting wars, because that was their slave master. They are getting back at their slave master. White people tell black people to let slavery go, but they are still bombing and starting wars with their slave masters. Okay, the Ottoman Empire. Go look it up. So after this, you have the rise of the European nations, but then you have these European nations pulling away from the Roman Catholic Church. We all know the Roman Catholic Church was evil from the jump because it was forced upon people. Um, so they didn't like that. They were forced upon that. Their ancestors were forced upon it. So they created their own religion. And basically, to sum it up, the Protestant religions was like Baptist, Seventh Day Adventist, Anglican, stuff like that. Which basically said that, yo, as long as you agree to a white Jesus being God, then you are saved. Um, so with that being said, this pulling away, the Protestantism, actually led the way for the King James Version of the Bible to be written, which became the slave Bible for black people. Go look it up. It's still in museums today in America and Britain. The slave Bible for Negro slaves. Okay. Now, again, they ask, why is there no white history? Because everything I just told you is everything about white history. That is all of white history in a whole timeline. So, with that being said, I want you guys to go listen to this video, do your own research, and then come back at me. If you guys can prove me wrong on anything I just said, I'll give you $100. If not, let's keep building, because we have to understand that black is beautiful. All of us Tainos, all of us Native Americans, all of us Africans, any indigenous people to this land deserve our respect, deserve the real history of what happened to us and why they do not talk about their own history and they lie about yours. Welcome to Apollo's Temple. Glad to have slayed it.